I hereby call the Iberia Parish Council meeting for August 14th to order. It is now 6 p.m. We'll have the prayer by Mr. Eugene Olivier.
All rise, please. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and minds in the spirit of fairness. Bless this meeting with your divine intervention and help us to make the best use of our own. We're a diverse people, yet we wish to mend our differences and reach agreements satisfactory to all. In your name we pray. Amen.
Mr. Gonsalves, the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Paul, tell me Dana Dugas supposed to go first. If you can't, tell Lord all that.
He is first.
Roll call.
Tommy Pollard. Michael Landry. Tommy Landry. Lloyd Brown. Warren Goshisane. Natalie Broussard. Paul Landry.
Here.
Ricky Gonsalves.
Here.
Joe Dugas. Eugene Olivier. Brian Napier. Berwick Francis. Marty Trahan. Chad Machuran.
Okay, we have a quorum. I would remind everybody if we could maybe make sure we silenced our cell phones. At this time, I'm looking for a motion and a second to go into public comments. I have a motion by Mr. Pollard, a second by Mr. Gonsalves. Roll call. Eugene. Okay, we're now in public comments. Public comments, we have a policy that allows for 3 minutes per person. Item number 1, comments from the general public on non-agenda items. A, Mr. Dana Dugas to announce his candidacy for Louisiana State Representative District 48. Is Mr. Dana here?
Good evening, Councilman, Councilwoman, Parish President. Thank you for your time. I'm Dana Dugas. I'm running for State Representative, District 48, and I'm here to announce to the Parish Council that I'm seeking this seat. I'm seeking a seat to represent the people. You know, the people that's in the audience are the people we need to represent. You know, they're the citizens that rely on us to give them good government, give them someone to call and talk to, and that's what I'm gonna be there for. My phone's gonna always be on. My email's gonna always be on. I plan on driving home every night during session. That's when I'm gonna call you back, and we're gonna talk, and I'm gonna listen to your concerns. And I'm going to try to help. I'm not going to promise you we're going to help everybody because it's impossible. But we're going to listen to you. And we're going to try. And that's what it's all about. Is trying to take care of the people. Trying to spend your tax dollars wisely. You know, we're overtaxed. We have government's way too big. You know, we need a smaller government. We need less taxes. We're not going to get less taxes, so no use us even promising that. But we don't need any additional taxes. How are we going to raise taxes? We're going to fix the economy. Louisiana has relied on oil and gas for 70 years to support itself, and that's what we're going to go back and fight. We're going to get oil and gas back running in Louisiana. We need to encourage business to come here. We need to encourage oil and gas to come back. You know, it's easier for oil companies to produce gas in Louisiana than in Texas. Our gas and oil comes out the ground at a much higher pressure, so we can pump more for less. So oil and gas is ready to come back, but we can't drive them away. We need to bring them in. And once we do that, everybody else's business is going to start growing with it. And that's my goal. I'm going to be there to fight for y'all, and I'm just looking for your support on October 12th. Again, my name is Dana Dugas, District 48. Remember me on October 12th. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, item number 2, comments from the general public on agenda items. The first one, A, is Ms. Sydney Jo LeBlanc to address the council regarding the current Board of Commissioners of the Hospital Service District Number 1. Just state your name, Mrs. LeBlanc.
My name is Sydney Jo LeBlanc. I've been a medical professional since I graduated nursing school in 2003. I worked in Lafayette as a registered nurse at Our Lady of Lourdes up until I graduated from graduate school in December of 2009. January of 2010, I began working in New Iberia as a nurse practitioner for Dr. David Rinaldi and worked for him up until 2015. Then I worked for Lafayette General's Cancer Center here in New Iberia until 2017. Dr. Rinaldi was one of the few oncologists here in New Iberia, and we provided care to those afflicted with cancer. At the time that I was hired by him, healthcare was drastically changing, and little did I know I would now be looking for resources through this choppy medical system for the most complicated of the patient population, those afflicted with cancer. However, that didn't really bother me and was okay with me because it was not a huge challenge for me because I had been doing the same since I was 19 for my dad. I took care of my dad for 18 years and was his sole power of attorney and caretaker. We frequented many inpatient and outpatient facilities, emergency rooms, hospitals, and nursing homes. Up until 2013, Iberia Medical was not one of them. Due to past experiences and just his treatment, I was not a fan of going to Iberia Medical until Parker took over, to be honest. When Parker Templeton took over in 2013, I decided to give the hospital a second chance. And at the time, I was working in New Iberia and felt I also needed to give the community a second chance. And so I did. And we did not have a negative experience from that time until his death in 2016. When I worked for Dr. Rinaldi and took care of these patients with cancer, there were many programs and resources that were put into play by not only Parker, but the current administration. All patients that got chemotherapy and couldn't afford it were given Medicaid, and there's a Medicaid social worker in the hospital to help them with funding. Every single patient that we saw was given chemo at Iberia Medical due to the 340B pricing program. So in the 7 years I did oncology, we not one time sent a patient to UMC. Every patient stayed local here in New Iberia. He had Miles Perret Center come once a month to give them inshore or help them with anything that they needed with their social workers. And that's just one aspect of healthcare. So let's not forget about the hepatitis clinic, his recent collaboration with Lafayette General, the financial statistics that are already written in black and white, and him bringing specialists such as OB back to New Iberia. That is what keeps patients here, and that's what keeps patients happy. Now I'm an employee of Iberia Medical, and it is really one of the best jobs I've had. It is really nice to see administration that works so well together and that gets things done on a local level. And so I just feel like I need to say I have, a lot of jobs, as you can tell, but this was by far the best one. So when I became a nurse, I took an oath because when people are ill or injured, they are vulnerable, and vulnerability is the most disheartening of this entire situation. Healthcare providers have the opportunity daily to demonstrate their core and fiber of who they are as people. Their values, integrity, beliefs, and character speak louder through their behavior at work. I am expected to meet certain standards as a nurse and a nurse practitioner. I think it's only fair that we ask the same of physicians and board members. I'm here to tell you that you've heard many stories over the past few weeks, many true, many not true. But what is true is the mistreatment of staff, the hostile work environment, and misrepresentation of the board and the hospital, which are just a few examples. These ethical lapses that affect the entire climate of the organization makes it harder for us to do our jobs, but most importantly, let's not forget the most important repercussion and consequence: the patients. And in my humble opinion, that has not been mentioned near enough as of. The patients are going to be the people to suffer. So for the sheer fact that they have blatantly proven that their beliefs and values are not congruent with our organization or the hospital, should be investigation enough that this take place. The sheer fact that the CEO with a great record that we all trusted to care for our hospital and our community has resigned due to this behavior is enough of an investigation for me. The sheer fact that the doctors that you trust daily to care for your friends and family have spoken out in a 30-to-1 vote is enough investigation for me. And the sheer fact that the most vulnerable of constituents that you all are trusted to represent and I am trusted to care for would be the consequence is not only enough of an investigation for me, but without a doubt shows just cause for their removal. Are we going to put them at risk, or are we going to do the right thing? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. LeBlanc. Next up, we have Mr. Jacob Freyu.
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I also want to thank individually every one of you council members for serving for us. I know you give a lot of time and a lot of effort. It's not an easy job. I keep saying I'm going to get up there and do my part, but I'm not at that stage in my life, and I do know how much time it takes. That's a big part of why I'm here tonight. I think as I bring a unique perspective, and my goal for being here tonight is to really educate you, to help you make the best decisions possible for our hospital, for your hospital. I am a resident of Iberia Parish. Again, my name is Jacob Freyu. I believe I'm in District 9, Mr. Dugas. I'm a physical therapist, and I came back to Iberia Parish primarily to take care of my family. And my mom and dad were a lot older, and I always said I wanted to be around them and be a part of this parish. Loved it. I was presented the opportunity to work for Iberia Medical Center in 1996. So I've been there for 23 years. From when I graduated from LSU Medical Center, that was my first start. In fact, Tommy actually helped me negotiate the terms of my first hire because he said I wasn't getting paid enough. But since that time, I've seen so much. I have been a part of a great facility, and when I started there, I remember thinking I'm going to work for a charity hospital, not the greatest care in my mindset. I was wrong. Had a lot of good people working there, but they were in a lot of turmoil, a lot of financial turmoil. Within the first few years, I think in '98, we had layoffs of 100 plus people. Staff was cut to less than 200. We were looking at private facilities possibly coming in, purchasing, taking over. Parish taxes being started to maintain this facility because of poor management, poor care, and again, progressive decay within a business structure. At that time, we brought in a management firm. It was decided that a company would come in, would help kind of get the hospital back on its feet. Since that time, I've been through 6 CEOs, and I can honestly tell you, out of those 6 CEOs, two of them I would work for at any time because they did a great job at bringing quality health care and excellent business decisions, excellent integrity. The first one was Jim Urey. Jim Urey, you're not going to know him. And again, I know you guys have been, most of you have been at Iberia Parish most of your lives. But he helped us. He created a vision in our hospital to change this facility into the facility of choice. And a lot of people didn't believe it could happen, but it did. I told him he was crazy, and he proved me wrong. He asked us all to be what we call fire starters. In healthcare, it's a term used nationally because you carry a flame with compassion for your patients. I can tell you we did that. We did that to the fullest extent. Mr. Urey died. While working for us, he was in a car accident, and we all took it very, very hard. But all of those workers still continued on doing great health care. Many of them stayed employed, but I can tell you at times we saw a lot of ups and downs, okay? In the early years when all this was going on, I remember going home and trying to find pens to bring to work because we could only get a box of pens a month. And we didn't know what we were going to have to use. And it was like that, very tight. And in our environment, you want to hire the best, most talented care. You want to have the best supplies and procedures. And we had struggles with all those. And through those years with those CEOs, I can't tell you that anyone motivated me as much as Jim to that point. And even after that, I wasn't real motivated. And you saw that even though we had all these same great people practicing healthcare, that flame that we had created kind of tended to dwindle at times. I was on the team that helped interview for Parker Templeton. I I was skeptical. I really was. I wasn't convinced he was the right guy. I had never had a homegrown CEO, and that was always kind of looked at. Well, you can't have that. You can't have somebody from town. I was like, why? You own the town. You want to be part of it. That's going to be the best person for it. But I understood some reasons why it was questionable. He was young. Some people said he didn't have experience. We went through multiple interviews, and I can say that I wasn't sure. He wasn't even maybe my top choice. He was up there with him, and we had 5 managers on that peer interview squad, plus we had a physician team, and then the hospital board that was appointed. And after all kind of meeting and putting our points in, he became our CEO. What I really noticed is, even with the same core group of people, that leadership, that direction makes such a difference. He really helped us rekindle that flame, and he's continuing to do that. I own this facility. When I'm out in the public and I hear somebody say we did something bad, I want to know why. Tell me what we did wrong. What can we do better? When I hear something great and they say, and I hear compliments, I own it. That makes me feel so wonderful. I can honestly tell you Parker is the same way. He's a man of integrity, character, you can't argue what's on paper. And I know some people might make it out to be finances and black and white statistics, and all those things are positive. You can see them. You can see where we're at. We're competing against some of the top healthcare facilities out there, making leaps and bounds, bringing quality healthcare to New Iberia. Excuse me. Might need a bottle of water. Thank you, Larry. Here's to you, brother. But my mission tonight is to tell you, I've observed quality, compassion, growth. We have an outpatient rehab center. If you haven't seen it, it's probably one of the best in the state. And it's in New Iberia. You need to come and see it. Call me. I'll give you a tour. We continue to expand services. And the one thing you can say we're a non-for-profit hospital, but we have to financially be sound to continue to give great care. I am worried that without the right leadership, we can dwindle so fast. I don't want to see my town, my parish go down that path. So, whatever you do, make a vote. Do your part. And realize that one person, we need to get him back here. We need to do everything we can. And my message is for 2 tonight, because my message is for Parker to rescind your vote and get back here and be a fire starter. But my message is also for you. Make a decision for Iberia Parish. Thank you.
Next up, we have Dr. Michelle Maynard. Ms. Maynard?
Good evening. My name is Dr. Michelle Menard, and I currently serve as the Chief of Staff at Iberia Medical Center. I've been practicing in the community for 9 years. About 9 months ago, I was here at this very podium, and I presented to you the medical staff's nomination for Dr. Jose Mata to fulfill the next physician seat on the Board of Commissioners. As we are all well aware, the vote was unfavorable, and the council appointed Dr. David Benson instead. After this action, a liaison committee consisting of members of the medical staff, the parish council, and the Board of Commissioners was created to improve the lines of communication between these 3 entities. This committee, along with the DA's office, has been instrumental in organizing legislative changes to ensure that the 2 physician seats on the Board of Commissioners will be vetted by the Medical Executive Committee moving forward. On July 25th of this year, to the dismay of many physicians and many employees, we learned of the unfortunate resignation of IMC's CEO, Parker Templeton. Under his term as CEO, IMC has experienced undeniable growth and progress, all while maintaining a positive budget. Our current administration has recruited 14 physicians to our community in the past 6 years, which is quite a difficult accomplishment. Our disappointment isn't only for the loss of Mr. Templeton, but more so the reasoning behind it. It's unnerving that a few members of our own board, who should be our ambassadors, do not support IMC's administration nor the medical staff. Their actions are counterproductive to our institution and our vision. Not to mention, Dr. Benson occupies a physician seat, yet he closed his practice and has taken a leave of absence from his active medical privileges. The medical staff proposed a vote of no confidence demanding the resignation of Bozo Metz and Dr. Benson. Last night, more than 140 employees of the hospital were present to support this same message from the physicians. We fear if this unrest is allowed to continue on, it will be extremely difficult to recruit any new CEO. Furthermore, a detriment to sustaining our current medical staff. At present, the healthcare that is delivered at IMC has not been affected by this turmoil, but the future of our institution is at stake. If the physicians start leaving the hospital, IMC will follow the same path as Dotrieve Hospital, St. Martin Hospital, and Franklin Foundation. Iberia Parish and the surrounding parishes are fortunate to have a robust medical community that can deliver effective health care here locally. We should stand united tonight to ensure that it continues on this way. A vote against this resolution tonight is a vote against our community's ability to receive health care, as well as a vote against the employees of the hospital, which I might remind you is the second largest employer in our parish. At the end of the day, we just want to take care of our patients and do what's best for the community. We ask that you please vote in favor of this resolution to help reinstate peace and normalcy amongst our board, our medical staff, and the employees of the hospital. Thank you for your time. And thank you, especially the ones who've had the opportunities to help along in the liaison committees and speaking to the physicians. Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Burton Sester.
Good evening. Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak a few words to you. I think you all know who I am. You all had me appointed a number of years ago. I am a member of the Iberia Medical Commissioners. Recently, there was going to be some new legislation, and my term, I was the next one up. So they said for the betterment, they didn't turn me out. What they did was they had a law that said that I am going to be replaced by a member of the medical staff. You didn't hear from me about it. I did not come and complain. I simply told the medical group that I represent, the commissioners, I want to do what's best for the hospital. It was best for the hospital that they have a medical appointment and have the law put in place. As a result, I am not going to be able to be reappointed to that position. It will be a medical position. And that was what was best for the hospital, and that was best for the community, and that was what the medical staff and the people who wanted to move this hospital forward wanted to do, and I acquiesced to it. And I'm here to tell you tonight that I'm asking you to vote for the motion to asking those two parties to resign, because we presently, on our commission, have a very divided commission. Our administration is having difficulty in operating on a day-to-day basis. We are doing, the people here tonight have told you just how well this hospital is doing. I am not going to repeat anything because everything they said about the progress of this hospital is complete. We are making money, and we're not only surviving, but we are thriving, except for the problems that we are having with those two commissioners. I urge you to vote to encourage them to resign from their positions. for the betterment of the hospital, at the request of the entire medical staff, and for the betterment of our community. Let it be said that 48 families moved out of our parish last year, according to my understanding, and they moved to Youngsville. Congratulations to Youngsville, but that's where our people are going. We have to have a strong hospital, and to do so, we have to have a strong working group. I beg you to vote for this resolution and let us move forward. I won't be up next time. My term's going to end in November, but I accepted it for the betterment of the hospital, and that's where I am. Thank you for allowing me the time.
Next up, we have Ms. Kathy Endest.
I'd like to also thank you for allowing me to come here this evening. The times that I've come before you in the past, I was representing the Bayou Teche Museum or the Iberia Cultural Resources Association or the Preservation Alliance. Tonight, I am here just as a citizen because I feel so strongly about this resolution that Mr. Paul Landry has set forth. I feel so strongly that we need you to vote for it tonight that I said I'm going to come and say my few words. But let me start off by saying congratulations to you as a parish council, because I brag on you all the time. That is the truth. Ask anybody who knows me. I'm very upfront. You all have moved this parish forward. And you can do it again tonight in a very important way by voting for this resolution. And you just heard from several people involved directly with the hospital and the board. So I hope I don't need to convince you anymore that the CEO of the hospital right now, Parker Templeton, has done a phenomenal job. And it's really a shame that he cannot continue working at what he needs to do every day because of two commissioners that have made things so difficult for him. You know, you all are responsible for that hospital. So, in my opinion, how can you not do what's best for the hospital because financially the hospital is doing so well? And that makes your job easier. That's one thing you don't have to worry about. And it all goes back to the leadership of Parker Templeton. I am asking you this afternoon to put aside individual politics, to put a stop to the adult bullying that has taken place in the arena of the hospital board, and to do the right thing by voting for this resolution that is being put forth asking for these two commissioners to resign, Mr. Bozo Metz and Dr. David Benson. You know, there are a lot of people in this room tonight. I would bet my bottom dollar that there are a lot, if not the majority of them, are here because of this resolution. So all the people in this room are watching you. They're watching how you're going to vote tonight. But it's not just the people in this room. This whole community that we live in of Iberia Parish is watching how you're going to vote tonight. Not just the people in this community. It's already on the news the last few days. All of Acadiana is going to be watching to see how you vote tonight. I'm asking you to do the right thing. Do the right thing tonight. Continue to push our parish forward. Don't go backward. We can't afford that. We need to keep pushing forward. So I'm asking you to please vote yes for the resolution. I believe it's 133 that is being put forward by Mr. Paul Landry. I thank you for your time tonight. I thank you for what you're doing for our parish. Please continue. I'm counting on y'all tonight. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Ms. Patricia Wells.
Hi, my name is Patricia Wells, and I too, like Kathy, am coming up here as a citizen. I am a retired educator, a former owner of an oil and gas related business in New Iberia, and I have lived here for almost 50 years. I am to speak here on Summary 133. I have known Parker Templeton for most of his life. In fact, Parker worked for my former business after school and during the summer while he was in high school and growing up. Parker was a diligent worker, always on time, got along with his co-workers, and he grew up in New Iberia, got his education, returned to New Iberia, and began to raise his family here in our community. Although he worked at other nearby jobs, he stayed right here at home until he finally got the job that he always wanted for himself and his community and his family, and that was Chief Executive Officer of Iberia Medical Center. As I indicated in my recent letter to the editor, which appeared in Wednesday, August the 7th edition of the Daily Iberian, my experience with Parker and the staff of Iberia Medical Center has always been positive. Jacob hit it on the head. He's a homegrown boy, and he needs to stay right here. I could spend quite a lot of time talking about the successes of Iberia Medical Center during Parker's tenure. However, I want to speak briefly about something that I hear spoken of time and time again, and it really bothers me. And that is, what can we do to keep our children, our grandchildren, and our young people here in Iberia Parish rather than moving to neighboring cities and parishes? Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that it is politics as usual. Divisiveness, negativism, such as that demonstrated by a small number of persons that you have appointed to parish boards and commissions, such as our local hospital board. People who spread rumors, half-truths, and constantly criticize our hospital and its management, especially Parker. Is it any wonder that one of our outstanding young leaders that returned to New Iberia to live and make our community a better place has resigned as Chief Executive Officer of Iberia Medical Center, or that our entire medical community is speaking out in such a strong and unified voice? Is it any wonder that our children, grandchildren, and young people continue to move out of Iberia Parish? Council members, all of you, you can send a very strong message tonight to our citizens and hardworking physicians and staff members of IMC with a vote in favor of urging and requesting that Dr. Benson and Mr. Metz and any other board members who continually criticize our local hospital to immediately resign from the board of Iberia Medical Center. To Mr. Richard, to Freddie DeCourt, to Jane Braun, all those people who work behind the scenes to bring businesses into New Iberia, we don't need negativism like this in a hospital. It's got to be stopped, and you people are the ones who can stop it. I thank you for your time and your consideration.
Just to let the audience know, we'll be kind of shifting gears. We're going to have Mr. Jeannie Grove that'll be talking about the library position.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeannie Grow, and I've been an educator in Iberia Parish for 30 years. I'm quite nervous about addressing the council, so if you indulge me, I'll think of you as my 12-year-olds, and it should be okay. I attended school here at Nish. I went to UL. I have a bachelor's degree in general studies. I have a bachelor's degree in education, and I have a master's degree in English literature. And I am currently hoping for the position of library representative on the board. And just a few pointers. I believe in libraries because I think that they serve a place for people to indulge in lifelong learning, and I think that's so important. If you're interested in anything, you can go to the library and find information on it, and you have very knowledgeable people that will help you for that. I especially support that for people who do not have access normally for those types of endeavors. I believe in libraries because they serve as a community gathering place. If you're interested in learning about quilting, you'll have some quilters there, and they'll have generally a little group, and you can visit with them, and they'll be happy to share their knowledge. And I believe in libraries because children can spend part of their summer making friends, exploring new things, all at the cost of a nominal fee. But I also believe in libraries because I enjoy reading, and there's such a joy in reading or watching a good DVD, and you can get all of that at the library. So I hope to volunteer for the 2 years that I would be appointed, if I would get appointed, and hope to move the library forward in that manner. Please consider my application for this, and I want to thank you. And thank you for the job you do, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, next we have is Ms. Joanne Parker, who's all be speaking on the library board.
Thank you so much. My name is Joanne Parker. I have been a member of Iberia Parish for more than 40 years. I was blessed to grow up in a very rural area where I learned to read before we got television, and I'm very grateful for that. For the past 40 years, I've been active in our community in both civic and humanitarian work. In my 40 years here, I have served on various boards, both locally, statewide, nationally, and internationally. My primary background is in business. Currently, I own or am a member of 4 businesses in Iberia Parish. My background is in mentoring others and helping them to reach their full potential. Because of that, I think it's important for any member of any board to be able to work to render themselves irrelevant because they have trained other people. In our library, this is an awesome opportunity for us to reach our young people. Today we're so totally caught up in tech and Facebook and all this that we forget the joy of reading. And when we encourage our young people to read, we encourage them to engage in a broader arena that opens their perspective not only to Iberia Parish, but to the whole wide world. As I said, I learned to read before we got a television, and my horizon was expanded beyond Deadwood, Texas. And I am very privileged to have been able to travel to some of those faraway places with strange-sounding names that I would never have known about had it not been for our local library and the fact that I worked in our library when I was in college. I thank the Lord that He invented a book because I can lose myself in that. But more important than that, it's important that we engage our young people. that we engage them from the very earliest age to appreciate reading, to appreciate the library, and to take full advantage of everything that we have to offer. What I have to offer for the library is a solid background in management, in serving on various boards. Currently, I serve on the advisory board for the BCM for ULL. That's an exciting thing because I get to interact with college students and get their perspective on things. And believe me, it might be a little bit different from mine, but I'm always taught to learn and to listen and to learn. Because of the skills that I bring, both in business and finance and serving on various boards, I ask your consideration to be placed on the library board of Iberia Parish. Thank you.
And I was going to see if Mr. Jeff Derwan is in the audience. Okay. At this time, I'm going to take a personal privilege. I'm not going to take a motion in a second at this time. I'd like to address the hospital people that were there last night. Y'all were very professional and very polite and everything. But there was a letter that Mr. Benson wrote, and he mentioned that there was a small group in concert with 2 council members, and I was one of them. I won't name the other female council member. I started with all this probably back in October when I got a call from my clerk, and she said, you need to, come, and there was some issues with some applications, and we immediately went to Mr. Andy Shealy to figure out what was going on. And the statutes from the state were really set in place and told us what we would do. And as we started looking through it, we started noticing the hospital was started in late 50s, early 60s, and there was 5 board members. And that at a later date, they went ahead and added 2 more, and about the same time, they said, well, we're going to add 2 of the medical community to it. But the language in there was kind of fuzzy and things like that. So what I got accused of is orchestrating new laws and things like that. It was actually a cleaning up the legislation and getting it locked down tight so that everything is in place and all that. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that was not really an accurate statement that was said last night. So at this time, I'll take a motion and a second to go back into regular session. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Gonsalas. Roll call. Okay, we're now back in regular session. Reports, finance, and administrative action. Number 1, balance sheet for June 2019 on request. Item number 2, budget report for June 2019 on request. Reports, parish and other governmental agencies. 1, Acadiana Criminalistics Laboratory Commission financial report for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018. There's a full copy on request. Item number 2, the monthly building report dated June 2019 on request. Public Works reports, the Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated July 15th to 19th, the 22nd to the 26th, and the 29th to August 2nd, 2019. Special business, we have none. We're going to open it up for council member announcements. Does anybody on the council have any announcements? Seeing none, we'll move to the parish president's announcement. Mr. Richard.
I'm going to be brief because I know we have a lot going on, but I'm just going to give a quick report from Public Works. For the last 2 weeks, we've been cleaning culverts in District 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 14. Culvert inspections in District 9, 10, and 12. We have trees down, of course, in various districts. Field drainage work was being done in District 8. Roadside drainage work in District 13. Grading of the roads in various districts, patching of the roads in District 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Everybody knows right now that the money that we have in Public Works for purchasing materials, the only thing you can do is patch roads. And it's not a good report because as we patch them, as soon as it rains, the water is causing everything to come out. Anyway, road repair work is being done in District 6. Side boom work is being done in various districts, and trimming trees in District 9. Of course, Monday, July the 29th, we started picking up storm debris, and we're doing that right now. We have 5 trucks in the parish. 1 truck is assigned to Generette. 4 trucks is working the parish. And what we're doing is we're trying to clean up, not in that district. We're starting in one area and we're trying to finish the area. So I'm starting to receive phone calls from some people that have debris, bulky waste that they're putting out, and it's not being picked up as quickly as it's normally being picked up. But the reason being is we're using those 4 trucks to pick up debris from the hurricane. So other than that, we opened bids today for phase 2 of the courthouse on the 2nd floor. That's actually going to be where we're going to open up the area when you're walking in from the 1st floor, and you get in the elevator now to come up to the 2nd floor. We're going to bring the courthouse to the way it used to be, where you can walk up the stairs, go into the 2nd floor, and try to make this courthouse a little bit more accessible. And to be honest with you, to try to bring it back to what it was when it first was built. The facility at Public Works, that facility is going pretty good. Everything is working out. We're on track. Of course, the rain is not helping, the amount of rain that we've been having. But we're working very hard to stay on schedule. I'm going to stop because we have a lot of discussion tonight. Thank you.
Okay. And I would like to remind everybody here that we do have the political forum starting with the Chamber of Commerce starting Monday. City Marshal, Clerk of Courts, and Parish Presidents. And then on Tuesday nights, council members. And on Wednesday, state representatives and the sheriff. So if y'all could make the forums. Sure. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Napier?
Larry, just as far as for hurricane debris, I've seen recently, at least on my end over there, they have been picking up on the main thoroughfares, 87, Almadal, 182. Where are we getting close to wrap? Because we still got a lot of side streets in the parish
Well,
that
you're
not
nearly
even
getting-
close.
Absolutely not. We haven't even finished the first round of debris pickup yet. That's what I was trying to mention earlier. And we're going to do 2 rounds of debris pickup in the parish before this project is over. We're not even near being close.
So how we doing like the dead end streets? I see they doing the main thoroughfares. but
They shouldn't be
no,
doing just
because
the main.
I'm just
No,
saying.
they're actually going
you
out
know,
and they're cleaning up whatever zones they're working in. It's not like you're doing man through fairs and you're just not doing the subdivisions. That's not the way it's working. Is that in Generette you're saying?
Well, that's what I'm.
In General-
That is how it's working.
In Generette?
Yeah. Well, in the parish where I live, they picked up on 87, but the little side streets. I live on a dead end street.
So they didn't go to your house?
So
and
I'm
pick
getting, my neighbors are telling me, you're a parish councilman, I can't even get my stuff picked up on my.
I'll look into that tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
not supposed to
So
be.
no, and I'm just, what's that?
Yeah, that's not.
So they're picking up it needs to be done, the main thoroughfares, but are they,
No, but
they
that's-
coming back, right?
They haven't completed the first round of pickup yet. They haven't even completed the first round yet.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not left out in the cold.
Not a
Okay,
problem.
thank you.
They're coming to a street
You're not
near
gonna leave
you,
me?
then you.
What's that?
They're coming to a street near you, then you.
I figured that's how I'd be treated. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what we're going to do, since we have a large amount of people here for one item, instead of going on to the consent agenda items, we're going to go straight to summary number 133. Introduced by Paul G. Landry, District 7, a resolution urging and requesting that Dr. David C. Benson and Mr. Frederick Bozo Metz immediately resign from their appointed position as members of the Board of Commissioners of Iberia Parish Hospital Service District Number 1, to provide for the effective date thereof and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Note, the parish council may choose to go into executive session to discuss this item pursuant to provisions of Louisiana ORS 42:17, 1 and 10. I have a motion by Mr. Napier, a second by Mr. Gonsalam. Mr. Napier.
So are we going into executive session, Bob?
I'm happy staying right here,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, so the resolution states that we asked these 2 gentlemen to immediately resign. Since what happened last night with the board, where they the board asks for an investigation into these two gentlemen. At the end of my comments, and after the end of discussion, I'd like to make a substitute motion, Mr. Chairman, if that's possible. So I just a couple things. I heard the passion out here tonight. I really did. And myself and a few board members on Monday met with a dozen or so doctors. And I saw the passion and the concern in their eyes. I was worried about going into the meeting because I voted for Dr. Benson. He was put on by this council. Mr. Metz was put on by the previous council. We have not had a chance to vote up or down for Mr. Metz. There has been a lot of things after we voted. There was a lot of things that was said about some of the ones that voted for Dr. Benson. Ugly stuff, and I understand, that the doctor, and I felt it Monday when the doctor said how disappointed they were by what we did. I'm here to tell you, it was not intentional on our part to intentionally go against the doctors. We are given, not just for the hospital board, but for a lot of other things, we get recommendations, planning and zoning and all that. And we take them serious. I know I do, and I'm hoping I'm speaking for my colleagues here. And nothing is meant to just go against them because, the doctors are the big almighty doctors, they're going to come in here and tell us what to do. Well, they're not. We didn't look at it like that, and that was said. We took it serious. Me personally, I investigated. I spoke with Dr. Mata. Very nice guy. I didn't know him, but I spoke to him. I was a patient of Dr. Benson. I spoke to him numerous times and had a lot of calls to vote for Dr. Mata. But in the end, y'all, it came down to each one of us has to sign off on what we do. We can take recommendations, but we have to feel good about what we're doing, that we're doing the right thing. And my intention has always been the good of the hospital, whether you believe me or not. I've been here all my life. My children were born there. I've had family die there. I have friends that work there. So when things were said, and I saw them, I'm not making this up, how real ugly about the person I was. Most of y'all don't even know me. And saying ugly things about me, even a past board member had the nerve to write in the paper about some of my colleagues here, about there was something going on, that we were in the pocket of Bozo Metz and all that. Disgusting. That is terrible. That is not what went on here. So you can see the way we felt about that. That was wrong. We are trying to do the best. Not everybody agrees with us. There's no doubt. But look, in the end, me personally, I support the hospital. If there's anybody, those two guys or anybody else on that board or any other board, if they disrupting what needs to be done to make this hospital successful, they should be removed. Not just them, anybody. So I do support you doctors. I do support the what y'all did last night. Let's have an investigation. Let's see where this goes. And in the end, if it comes back that these guys didn't do their due diligence in representing that hospital, Dr. Maynard said it, I think it was Dr. Maynard, they are ambassadors, or Mr. Free, you're one of them. They are ambassadors, and they should stand for the hospital. We are ambassadors of this parish, as we should. So I support an investigation. But to vote tonight to ask them to resign, I don't think we can do that tonight. At least that's just my opinion, you know. But I am in favor of let's have an investigation. I am all for that. And if they did wrong, come back to this council, and I promise you, I will be the first one to sign off on let's get rid of it. I yield my time back, but I'd like to offer my substitute, Mr. Landry.
Okay, we're going to go on. I have Mr. Gonsalves.
Thank you, Mr. Landry. Look, you know, I've always said that if you want to get something accomplished in the community, to step up to the plate, and it's a good example tonight. You guys stepped up and come look at your elected officials in the face when there's a tough decision on the line. You know, when you look at successful communities around, most of them have a successful hospital. And that's essential to this community, a successful hospital. If you want this community to grow, you need a successful hospital. And we're growing. We have a successful hospital. But you know what? We're at a crossroads in it. And if this council can do anything to fix it, it needs to step up to the plate and do its due diligence and fix it. You know, when you look at everybody talks economic development in this parish, what does $100 million mean to you? What does $100 million mean to this parish? That's what that hospital generates annually, $100 million. So don't take this decision lightly tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because it's that important to this parish. You know, as a parent of 3 kids in this parish, and you take pride, and you know, you've heard some comments about kids leaving this parish, and it's actually, and there is a fact behind it. But as a parent, you know, when your daughter graduates from UL, one of the top in the class, and comes up to her dad and says, you know what, Dad? I got resumes, I got applications 3 states wide to go to work, making tons of money. But I want to come home. I want to work at Iberia General because I'm proud of what Iberia represents and what the hospital is doing for our community. That really sinks in with you. So that makes my decision very easy tonight. I'm going to support, as I've done in the past, what the executive committee recommended, to support our hospital because it's important for health care and it's important for the economy of this parish. And I see a bunch of employees out here that count on this hospital. So I think we all ought to do our due diligence and support the recommendation by the hospital board moving forward and go forward with that decision. And I'll yield my time to the rest.
Well, I have no one else wants to speak today. Anybody have any other comments? Okay, Mr. Olivier.
I spent a lot of time reviewing policies of the hospital board as well as parish government. The issue I struggle with is the fact that as council, we are obligated to appoint board members. And as council, we are obligated to remove board members when there's problems with their professional service on these boards. The hospital policy itself, in some of the documents that the hospital actually, board members sign during the orientation process, has this clause in it. I understand that unauthorized use or disclosures of protected health information constitute grounds for the board to petition the parish council for my removal from the Board of Commissioners of Iberia Parish Medical Center. It's for the board, hospital board can petition the council for the removal of that particular individual. I struggle with the resolution. It was sent to us about requesting that we recommend that they resign. I feel that the authority of the council is to execute the removal of these individuals for offenses they committed during their tenure as serving as a board and commission. I respect everything. I met with the doctors. I respect everything they said. But I think due process is recommended in a situation like that for a governing authority of this council. And in doing so, I really think that the hospital board itself needs to do their own investigation and also come back with actual, I want to say evidence, but actual documentation of policies broken by these individuals, or documentations or misdemeanors, or documentation of any rules they may have broken based on hospital policy. So I'm not directly, I reviewed the substitute motion Brian is going to put before us. I'm not completely happy with everything, but I think it's a way forward. We can move forward from this point. Thank you.
Okay, so does anyone else like to make any comments? So we'll refer back to Mr. Napier.
Okay. So the substitute motion is going to read like this, that hopefully we can all support. The Iberia Parish Council supports the decision of the Board of Commissioners of Iberia Parish Hospital Service District Number 1 to retain independent counsel to investigate allegations of misconduct or action by Dr. David Benson and/or Frederick Bozo Metz that impair the orderly process, operation, or efficiency of the district and Iberia Medical Center, or otherwise disqualify them from service on the hospital board, and request that the results of any such investigation be immediately provided to Iberia Parish Council upon receipt by the Board of Commissioners for consideration of any appropriate action.
So that's your substitute motion?
That's my substitute motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have Mr.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, before I take the second, I have Mr. Gashasan.
Substitution, it doesn't matter. I mean, I just wanted to make it official on the docket.
Okay.
But I do have some questions, if I will, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
sir.
and refer to
Right.
legal, if I may also. That once the conduction of the investigation has taken place and the results have been turned into the board itself, then it would be, I guess each one of us would be presented with the evidence, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And how would that be affected, let's say, like in the HIPAA issues that, with patient privacy and all of that, will we be able to see some of those things that could be affected in the HIPAA violations? Am I putting you in the spot right
No,
there?
you're not. No, you're not. It's a good question, Mr. Gustafson. I think that independent healthcare counsel would clearly be able to determine what can be validly reported and what is confidential, and either redact or somehow through use of a number or something be able to provide that information. So I envision a written report of some sort outlining any findings or lack of findings that could then be provided to the council for the council to consider and then take appropriate action based upon what the independent council was able to find.
And I imagine that you would recommend that we go into executive session at the time of debate of that?
In all likelihood, yes.
Okay. And I guess my parliamentary procedure question would be, at the point in time, if something is found, and not saying hypothetically, but if it is, would the removal of a board member be a simple majority, or would it be a supermajority?
According to a state law on hospital boards, and let's just separate hospital boards from other boards and commissions, it requires a 2/3 vote and cause.
Got you. Mr. Chairman, I relinquish the rest of my time, and I appreciate you, Mr. Shealy.
Thank you. Mr. Olivier.
Oh, I second the motion.
Okay. Mr. Gonsolin.
So according to your resolution, you just going to remove the removal of the board of directors until investigation calls, correct?
In layman's terms, we just supporting what the hospital board put forward last night in putting forth an investigation into these two gentlemen to see if any wrongdoings were done, and then we take appropriate action after that.
Okay.
That's it.
I think what may be missing in this resolution is, to add to it, is that I think it's so detrimental in time right now that we need to put a timetable, because the way you have it worded, this can drag out for 6 months, 8 months, whatever. So,
I think it's up to the hospital board. I don't think we have any
but
control over the,
but what I'm saying is I want to make the request that we set a timeline on it, because I just think that this is going to drag on.
look, I like to get it next week.
Well, I mean, I would like I would like to have it tonight, but
Yeah, I think, no, I don't want to drag it, so I don't know if we can do that, Andy, because we're not controlling the investigation.
I'm just asking, and if we can put a timetable on it.
It's difficult for you to put a timetable on an investigation done by an independent third party. Number one, you want the investigation to be thorough and complete. You don't want it to be rushed. Look, everybody needs an answer, don't get me wrong, but to artificially tie the hands of an independent person to investigate that will put that person in a difficult spot. It may not be as thorough as you would like. I think that an independent investigation should be able to be completed in 90 days. I'm just guessing.
Then he resigned. Then it's all those times over. We'll go there
And
again.
who would, anyway,
I'm asking for your honest
and
opinion.
look, it could very well be sooner. It's going to depend upon the facts, the circumstances, the ability to get at the necessary records, the ability to be able to, as we talked about, redact or protect appropriate information. That's just my.
No, that I think that's I understand, and that's my concern.
Yeah.
I mean, 90 days into the year, multiple board meetings, multiple conflicts moving forward. I'm just concerned. I'm just trying to put what's on the table.
The hospital board controls the retention of that independent investigator, the time frame, and anything else. So, and although there's not a lot of case law on this issue, there is some attorney general's opinions that make it very clear that it is the hospital board's responsibility to conduct an investigation, and it is the council's responsibility to react to that investigation. And so I think the appropriate thing to do is to have the hospital board, when they retain their independent counsel, to say, we would like to have this report as quickly as possible. The longer this goes on, the less advantageous it is to our community. And so we're asking you, we're paying the bill, so we're asking you to move with all due haste.
Well, I mean that's the answer that I wanted. I don't think I'm gonna have the option to vote on the original motion based on the substitute. Although I support the original motion, I think what's going to be presented as the second motion probably going to be the only opportunity we have to vote to do something proactive. And I think something has to be done. By doing nothing is unacceptable. So
Just also, Mr. Gonsolin, I think that the hospital board and this council wants to see
sure.
a written, full, and complete
Absolutely.
response. Not, well, we think, so that everybody's working on the same page. So despite what some may think, that 60 or 90 days may be too long, I don't know. It depends on how quickly that independent counsel can get to the records and get it done.
Yeah. Well, I agree, but looks like that we won't be able to insert a timetable on it. But I do, for the record, would like to recommend that the hospital board potentially call a special meeting to get this moving as quickly as possible. Thank you. I'm finished.
Next up, Michael Landry.
Let me tell you, when it was brought to me a couple of weeks ago, a week and a half ago, in my conscience, I just couldn't live with somebody saying, I want to remove 2 board members with no proof. I think the doctors in here, if I would go to the hospital and say I want to remove a doctor because I think whatever. They don't have the right bedside manner. They are not doing something. There's a process that we got to go through, even through the Louisiana Medical Board. You're just not going to take a doctor and take his license. I think Mr. Metz and Dr. Benson should be afforded that same right. They should have an investigation, and however long it takes. I think it should be done quickly, but however long it takes. I think they should be, I don't think nobody has the right to come here and say, well, I just want to remove them because they're disruptive, and they can't give me no proof of their being disruptive. When we voted on Dr. Benson, and Brian is right, we did our due diligence here. I don't think nobody tried to circumvent the board, the medical staff, or anything. So we need to look. We put an ad hoc committee together, and personally speaking, and I've relayed this to my chairman, that I thought this should have went through the ad hoc committee and discussed it before it was brought. First thing I was told was the doctors wanted this done tonight. Last night, well, we're going to put it off till the 21st. So I think we need to investigate it and see where we're going, and then bring it back to this council, because we're removing someone, and this is going to be a hard thing to do, and I don't want this council to set a precedent that we just going to take anybody off the board that we dislike. Personally speaking, I think diversity is good on the board. I really do. We have it amongst this council here. We argue a point, and I don't think nobody takes it personally. We argue points. We might not all agree, but we do what we think is the best for this parish. And I think we need to do what's the best for this hospital to move our parish forward. So I would support this resolution that Brian has. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Mr. Mathurin.
I have a question. Is it within the authority of this council to suspend these members pending the investigation? Because listening to the audience and some of the people speaking, maybe it'll change some of the morale, and if everybody's using the word detrimental, it could help, ease things while the investigation is going on. Just a thought.
Wow. There is nothing in the statute that in any way refers to suspensions. It's either removal or your point or removed. So I believe that you would not have the right, and then I think in all likelihood, if you chose to try to take a suspension, you probably would have to show cause to do so.
Next up, Mr. Napier.
So, Ricky, I agree. I would like to get this really done, as I'm sure our audience here would like to have it done as quick as possible. It is a little bit out of our hands since we're not initiating the investigation. But if we could try, if Andy would allow it, to put it in here to where we could suggest that 30 or 60 days. I know things, and since I've been in government, I can make things happen in my line of work pretty quick. But in government, it just doesn't move so fast. So I'm okay with my substitute if we add to try to get back to us in 60 days, if that's appropriate. 30 days. If y'all want to throw that around.
I think it just puts a sense of urgency on the issue.
I'm for that. I think it's very important that we fix this issue and fix it now, soon, after the investigation.
Mr. Shealy?
Well, again, that's the hospital board's decision. If you wanted to say, as quickly as possible without delay, which is why I think the word immediately is in that.
Yeah, immediately. You could throw that in there.
To immediately provide you with the results.
Just to let them know, and I think they are
Yeah.
They want to get it done as much as more than we do. Okay, so we can throw something like that in there.
Okay, I'll keep going through the listing. Mr. Tommy Landry?
Yeah, first of all, I kind of agree with Mike about the precedent of removing board members. I think it's somewhere we might not want to go. The other thing is I have been falsely accused, okay, and I know what it feels like. And not only from people in this room, but on a much more personal matter, okay, and it's not a good feeling. And I just think the way this has been handled publicly with the medical board, that it could have been done internally, and we could have had a lot meetings with some physicians earlier, but they chose to go on the attack, as has the other side. I'm not taking sides, okay, but I just think that it's a bad precedent to set. I don't think we have a dog in this fight. I think we send it back to them and let them do what they want to do, okay? I don't think we need to say, you got to have an investigation, and there's some other wording in here. Otherwise disqualify them from the service on the board. Very strong language, and what does that say to people who are in this parish who want to be on boards and commissions? And what position will that put them in as it relates to volunteering, not being paid? And I just think we're setting a bad precedent. I'm not going to support your second, and we spoke about it before. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Mr. Brown.
Okay, my understanding is that the hospital board can do this themselves without us. Is that correct, Andy?
Yes, sir. Well, let me back up. Yeah, let me back up and make sure my response is clear. They certainly have the right to conduct the investigation without you, but they do not have the right to remove someone from that board. That solely is with this body.
I would say that if they can do it, I would recommend that they go on and do it and then come back with a recommendation rather than having us included in it because they can do it without us. So I can't support this, but I'll support them going with the investigation and come back with the findings. That's all.
Okay, next up, Mr. Gashasan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Going back to Andy. Andy, I just want to make sure. So once the investigation takes place with the board, then the board has the opportunity to review that and then accept what the findings are, correct? And then once it's accepted by the board, it comes back to here, which it doesn't have to go through our committee process. It comes just like it was forward here. So we save ourselves 2 weeks of procedure, all right? So I think it'll give them sufficient enough time to find whatever it is that they'll come up with. But in the meantime, a lot of you are going to go back to work tomorrow and hearing what you said. Don't let this divide the community. I mean, let's still resume as if, things haven't happened at that hospital. And I know as hard as it is, I mean, like I think the lady said tonight, it was the second biggest employer in this parish. So you guys mean a lot. I mean, I know it's not what you want tonight, or it's not what the hospital wants, but at the end of the day, process is process. Let it take its course. It'll come back here and hope to God that the parish government does what it has to do to ratify what needs to be done. Just don't let this community split, because once we start turning on each other, it's like a cancer. It just keeps going and going. So that I just want to say that for the record. I know some members are taking it personal. Some are on the attack. It is what it is. Just let's as a community try to stay together. And that's it, Mr. Chairman. I'm ready for the vote.
Okay, well, we have a few more people that want to talk. Brian?
Okay, so, Tommy, just the wording was done, first of all, with the original motion, the way it was to ask them to resign, the support just wasn't there. We worked on it for a few days, and then when it came up last night that the hospital board did what they did, I thought that was perfect. Just me, I thought that was perfect, to where let's not just throw out accusations and all that and then come to us and ask us to do something. Let's have an investigation and let's see if these two gentlemen actually did what they accused of doing. And that is kind of how the wording came about, because it is serious. If it's found that they did what they accused of doing, it is serious, and we need a set of precedents with all of our boards that we're not gonna stand for it. And that's, I'm not accusing them, that's the reasoning for the, and Andy helped me put that together, as y'all probably know. And then, Mr. Brown, I understand what you're saying, but all I want to do here is we're not voting on the original one to ask them to resign. At least not now. We might end up doing it, but we just showing the community, the doctors, the staff, everybody, and I even spoke to Dr. Benson, and he's in favor of it. That, hey, you know what? I did not do that when anybody was up there. I really didn't. Let's have a little respect, please. I did speak to him, whether you believe it or not. He said he encouraged. Look, it's getting out of hand. But so all I'm doing is just trying to, just support what they doing, just showing them that, hey, we do support the investigation and we'll take action if appropriate. That's it.
Well, you see, I support them going to do the investigation.
Okay.
And coming back to me.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that I want the investigation. That's what I'm saying. That's what I keep saying. We can do it without me.
Okay, I respect that.
Okay. You finished, Mr. Nate?
Yeah, yes,
Mr. Trahan?
Yeah, I'd be in support of Mr. Lloyd's deal. Send it back to their board, let them take care of the investigation, and come back to us. It's not us voting to say to do the investigation. Y'all go do y'all investigation, and y'all come back to us.
Okay. Just to clarify, Mr. Trahan, this is just saying that we do support them to go and do the investigation.
We are not doing the investigation.
No, we're supporting them, yes. The original 133, summary was, I got that from the hospital board, and we just put it on here to show them support, that we were gonna follow with them. And then after last night's meeting, they changed the language, and I was kind of concerned about that. So that's where we started early this morning talking about it. I think we all here in the room know that they're not going to resign, so there will be an investigation starting October 21st. So I think if we do support the hospital district with the independent council
August
to
21st.
investigate. August, I'm sorry. It's been a long week. So, we're going to go straight into the investigation, I'm sure. And I think if we put a timeline, that we would be going on there. Mr. Trahan, are you familiar? We'll get back online.
Out of the hospital board meeting last night. Anybody have that?
I can.
Okay.
I don't think that was even brought up at this point.
Resolved that this board request that Dr. David C. Benson and Mr. Frederick Metz immediately resign from their appointed positions as members of the Board of Commissioners of Iberia Parish Hospital Service District Number 1, and authorize the retention of special counsel to investigate allegations of misconduct or action by them that impair the orderly process, operations, or efficiency of the district and Iberia Medical Center, or disqualify them for any other reason. That if Dr. David C. Benson and Mr. Frederick Metz tender the requested resignations on or before August the 21st, 2019, that the investigation of the person resigning shall no longer be necessary. And that if Dr. David C. Benson and Mr. Frederick Metz do not resign on or before August 21st, 2019, that the chairman provide the names and qualifications of interested special counsel to conduct the requested investigation and the estimated cost at our next regular meeting of August the 29th, 2019.
Okay, we're going to get back on track. Mr. Trahan, you still have the floor?
Yes. I have been abstaining from voting on the hospital board stuff because my daughter works there. Tonight, I'm going to support this resolution. But the name calling, the backstabbing has to stop. We have to do what's right for this parish. Okay, employees? Especially able to show up tomorrow morning, give an honest day's work. Okay? Y'all do a good job. All right? But all this bickering back and forth has to stop. And whatever comes out, that investigation, let it be. If they are, if they're not, let things die and move this parish forward. And I thank y'all for the job y'all do and everything. And I'm not going to abstain. I'm going to vote to have this done so we get to an answer for it. Okay? Thank y'all very much for the job y'all do.
Okay. Is anyone?
Finished.
Mr. Gonsalas?
Question.
Okay, we have a call for the question. Correct. Mr., are you finished with your substitution?
So, yeah, and we're gonna add 60 days to it, some kind of way.
Okay, so,
Immediately? Immediately? Okay. I'm good with that.
Immediately.
Let's do immediately. That might even be better. All right.
okay, so we have the word immediately in there. And so we have a second by Mr. Gashasam. No further question?
Immediately after Iberia Parish Hospital Service District number 1 to immediately retain.
Okay. And then we pull it out here. Okay, so the substitute motion is going to read, the Iberia Parish Council supports the decision of the Board of Commissioners of Iberia Parish Hospital Service District Number 1 to immediately retain independent counsel to investigate allegations of misconduct or action by Dr. David Benson and/or Frederick Bozo Metz that impair the orderly process, operation, or efficiency of the district and Iberia Medical Center, or otherwise disqualify them from service on the hospital board, and request that the results of such investigation be provided to the Iberia Parish Council upon receipt by the Board of Commissioners for consideration of any appropriate action. So that's our substitute motion. Oh, I'm sorry. So we would leave in such investigation be immediately provided to the Parish Council. Okay. Okay, so we have a substitute motion on the floor, and we have a second by Mr. Gashasam. Roll call. That motion passes. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the consent agenda items. Consent agenda items. The first is the minutes for the special meeting of July 17, 2019, regular meeting of July 24, 2019, summary number 122, introduced by the parish president, a resolution granting the authority to the parish president to sign an intergovernmental cooperative agreement with the Port of Iberia relative to the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program. Summary number 123, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2019 LCDBG fund budget to reflect carryover project awards for 1, 800,000 water improvements project, match of 159 to be funded by Waterworks District Number 3, and 2, $120,042 Louisiana Land Trust project sewer lift station at the Port of Iberia. Summary number 124, introduced by the parish president, a resolution requesting financial assistance from the state of Louisiana under fiscal year 2019 to 2020 Local Government Assistance Program, LGAP, and the Community Wastewater Enrichment Fund Program. Summary number 125, introduced by the parish president, a resolution authorizing the execution of the intergovernmental agreement for GIS mapping of Iberia Parish for 2019. Summary number 126, introduced by Joe Dugas, District 9, a resolution authorizing the parish president to execute an intergovernmental agreement with Bayou Teche Waterworks for the expansion of a water line 2, and we're going to substitute O'Day for Castillo Road, District 9, all to be funded with $29,200 from the Community Water Enrichment Fund grant. Summary number 127, introduced by the parish president, a resolution of condolences to the family of Mr. Jerry E. Shea Jr., who passed away on July 18, 2019. Is there anyone who would like to pull any of the consent agendas out at this time? Seeing none, I have a motion by Mr. Gonsalves, a second by Ms. Broussard. Roll call. Those consent agenda items pass. Ordinance introduced for the public hearing to be voted, we have none. Resolutions introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 128, introduced by the clerk of the council. A resolution recommending Mr. Ray Freeman Jr. for appointment to the Iberia Parish Levy, Hurricane, and Conservation District, representing Iberia Parish for the remainder of a 4-year term to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Mr. Patrick Broussard, whose term expires July 1st, 2021. I have a motion by Mr. Trahan, a second by Mr. Pollard. Mr. Trahan.
Yes, Mr. Ray Freeman was the director of the deal, and I'm just trying to put him back on the board for his knowledge of what has happened in the past, in case that one day it does move forward. I appreciate your vote and support.
And Mr. Pollard, any comment? Okay, no further discussion. Roll call. Summary number 129, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing one member of the Iberia Parish Library Board for the remainder of a 5-year term to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Miss Melissa Landry, whose term expires August 8th, 2022. Appointment applications received from A, Karen Bachet, Jeff Darrowon, Jean Rowe, and Joanne Parker. At this time, I'll let y'all know that B, Mr. Jeff Darrowon, has not come forward to speak, so he will be pulled off of this. We'll be voting on A, C, and D. Use your district pads.
Now you can come back to work. You can come back to work for us.
In fact, are you gonna be, what's your schedule tomorrow?
I'm wide open if you're wide open. Whenever you have time.
Who all you, is it just gonna be you and Scott, or you want, is it gonna be?
Okay, here we go. District number 1, Ms. Bachet. District 2, Mr. Bachet. District 3, Ms. Grove. District 4, Ms. Grove. District 5, Joanne Parker. District 6, Joanne Parker. District 7, Ms. Parker. District 8, Ms. Parker. District 9, Ms. Bachet. District 10, Ms. Grove. District 11, Ms. Parker. District 13, Ms. Parker. And District 14, Ms. Parker.
You said you gotta
Have the tallies in a second.
I wouldn't be back until a legal meeting.
What time you leaving to go over there?
Probably 9 o'clock.
Okay, the votes for Ms. Bachet, 3 votes, Ms. Grove, 3 votes, and Ms. Parker, 7. And we had 1 absent with Berwick Francis. So go ahead and get your tablets again, and we'll re-vote. Okay, so here we go again. District 1, we have Ms. Parker. District 2, Ms. Grow. District 3, Ms. Parker. District 4, Ms. Parker. District 5, Ms. Parker. District 6, Ms. Parker. District 7, Ms. Parker. District 8, Ms. Parker. District 9, Ms. Basham. District 10, Ms. Grow. District 11, Ms. Parker. District 13, Ms. Parker. District 14, Ms. Parker. Okay, so the votes come out. We have 1 vote for Ms. Basham, 2 for Ms. Grow, 10 votes for Ms. Parker, and 1 absent with Mr. Berwick Francis. So, Ms. Parker, you'll be joining the library board. And thank all of y'all for coming and putting your names up. Yeah. Thanks for an interest in joining and running this beautiful parish. Summary number 130, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2019 drug court fund budget in the amount of $319,207 to recognize partial year federal state grant funding. Full award amount was $600,000, and to make an appropriation for the operational expenses per grant award for the remainder of the fiscal year. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Ms. Trahan. Ms. Broussard?
Wave.
Mr. Trahan? Roll call. The motion passes. Summary number 131, introduced by the library board, a resolution amending the 2019 public library fund budget in the amount of $10,000 to transfer funding from various line items of the main library location for repair and maintenance building line item of the Lydia Branch location. I need a motion. I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, and I have a second by Michael Landry. Mr. Olivier. Mr. Michael Landry. No further discussion. Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 132, introduced by Paul G. Landry, a resolution authorizing the parish president to implement a 5-year Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act GOMESA coastal plan utilizing GOMESA funds, which is consistent with CPRA's master plan. Note, this item needs to be amended to include budgets for said projects and to authorize the parish president to execute a contract with the engineer for said projects. I have a motion by Mr. Trahan, a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Trahan.
I'd like to amend this motion, this resolution to include for the said project budgets, include budget for said projects, and to authorize the parish president to execute a contract with the engineer for said projects.
Okay. Mr. Olivier, you, okay. Mr. Richard?
For all 3 projects? Is that what you're talking about? It was large. Probably $5 million.
That's the 3 structures in the canal? No?
Yeah, that's the 3 structures, Marty. You might want to leave it like right there. That's for the 3 structures.
Right.
You want me to, you asking me what is the budget for the 3 structures? Oh, okay.
To include budget for said project.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
It's just so we can track the project.
That's all we're trying to do is
Yeah,
take
well,
money and
you-
make 3 separate line items.
You introduced the cost to us at the last council
We
meeting,
did.
so you just want to make
I
sure
just want to have
those
3
budgets are
separate
included.
line items.
All right, that's fine.
So when we
Okay.
finish the project, we can say on People's Cooler, we spent this amount of money on Jefferson,
All right,
whatever.
I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay, so, none? Okay, no further comments? Roll call?
You got a second?
Yes. Mr. Gonsalas? That motion passes. We have a, yeah, right. We'll take a, y'all ready to go?